Hello friends and welcome to the Union Labor Advisory Network. I'm Mike Fina. Today I'm extremely proud and privileged to be with John Feal, 9/11 responder and advocate, to learn a little bit more about his background, history, and experience, and what's going on with John today in the wake of 9/11 and this coming up. So John, thank you very much for being here and everything that you've done and are doing today for our 9/11 responders and people within the community. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Without a doubt. So tell us a little more about how everything got started and what you're doing today.
You know, I can make light of this and just say I tripped, fell down, and here I am. But the journey's been long, 20 plus years now. The journey's been difficult. We've had our ups and downs, but more downs than ups. Me personally, my story pales in comparison to those that we've lost from a 9/11 related illness or those who are deathly ill now. While my injury on September 17th during the cleanup and the recovery is gruesome and horrific, it altered my life. And at the time, it altered my life for the worst. But now I look back, I don't think it altered my life for the worst. It altered my life to know what I'm capable of doing. And everything I've done since my injury, I've been diagnosed by 4 doctors with post-traumatic. I've never done anything significant in my life that's noteworthy. So if anybody out there suffering from post-traumatic, it's not a stigma. It means you've been through something and came out the other side, and you'll have life scars. You'll never be the same, but it makes you stronger. And if you try to fight post-traumatic, you'll lose. Embrace it. Use it as a sword. Use it as your superhero power. But I spent 11 weeks in the hospital, and it's a life changer. It's not 3 days in bed with the flu. It's 11 weeks in the hospital, losing 60 pounds and almost dying. But before everybody got sick, I got hurt. And before everybody got sick and denied the justice they deserve, I got denied the justice I earned. And I decided to fight back for myself. And in the process of fighting back for myself, I learned so many more people needed help. And I started a foundation in 2005. And since then, we've helped pass 19 pieces of legislation. We've donated over $10 million. And we built a park on Long Island dedicated to those who have died from their 9/11 related illness. It's easy to say passing legislation wasn't that hard. It was difficult. But making sure the pieces of legislation that we got passed mature. All of these bills are in their infant stages. But we need people like me, Michael Connell, Michael Barasch, Ben Chavette, and all of the others who have to guard the wall 24/7. So that bill, that piece of legislation, that life-saving piece of legislation, that lifeline to the 9/11 community, first responders, volunteers, survivors, those who lived and worked and went to school in Lower Manhattan, that lifeline is available for them. And we have this until 2090. You know, I think I'm going to be 122 years old in 2090. I plan to be here, and I plan to see this to the end. This is personal to me. My best friends have died from 9/11 cancer. I've been to 212 funerals. This is personal, and I choose to work with those who share my values, those who share my morals, and those who share my principles. What we did in D.C. will never be done again, but I hope it is, and I hope it's done better. We don't have the ego to not share the secret recipe and formula to beating Congress or the Senate or those in their state houses. We know how to get legislation passed, especially when it comes to humanity. Never apologize your approach to protecting the one thing that remains sacred, and that's humanity. When we drop the labels, strip everything away, Republican, Democrat, man, woman, black, white, Jewish, Muslim. We're human beings. And to truly help each other, we have to admit we're flawed. We have to admit we're vulnerable. We have to admit no one's perfect. Because when you do that, it allows others to say, I'm flawed, I'm vulnerable, I'm exposed. And then you can collaborate and move forward. And I think we lost that somewhere along the line since 9/11, because certainly on 9/12 we had that. We had the best of humanity after the most horrific day in the history of this country. And I can block out what happened to me on 9/11, but I choose to remember 9/12 and the love and the empathy and the sympathy and the compassion that this country's capable of showing. I'm never going to conform to today's norms. I know I'm different. I know I march to my own beat. I even donated a kidney, and yesterday was my 17th anniversary of donating that kidney to a complete stranger. So I don't have to be a people person to love humanity.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the foundation that you've established as well.
Yeah, you know, when we first started the FealGood Foundation, I can't even take credit for starting, finding the name. When I was filling out all the paperwork, going to get a business license, she was probably in the mid-70s, short, little, tiny, beautiful black woman. I'm thinking she was working part-time or semi-retired, because she was much older than me. But when I filled out all the paperwork, she goes, "Honey, come back here. You didn't fill out the title." I said, "Yeah, I can't think of a name. Can I come back?" And I was like, I don't know. And she goes, "You can't leave." And I was like, you know, everybody, when they think of 9/11, thinks of the worst. Rightfully so. And I said, I want something that's uplifting, something that's about solving problems, about taking the issue and not reacting but responding to it. And she goes, "Sugar, what's your last name?" I said, "Feal." She goes, "Baby, you're the FealGood Foundation." And I was like,
Wow.
I'm a effing idiot. And I go, "Can I spell it F-E-A-L? Good?" And she, "You're the boss. You can do whatever you want." And I go, "Well, can I make the G capital?" She goes, "Even better." And that's really how it started. And you know, we were a Band-Aid to a machine gun wound, just putting food on people's tables, paying their utilities, giving them gas cards to get to their chemotherapy appointments. And then I was approached to go and help on a piece of legislation in D.C. It's called the Walsh Amendment. And at that time, Senator Clinton helped us get that attached to the Katrina emergency spending bill. I just aged myself. And the White House gave New York State $125 million to New York State workman's comp. But you can get hurt at Home Depot, have a box fall on your head, and get comped faster than a 9/11 responder. The White House tried to take that money back, and we prevented that. And now, you know, years later, workman's comp, Social Security, the pieces of legislation that we got passed, they're all working better. The thing is, at the local, city, state, federal level of government, they don't move as fast as real life. And if you think about it, in real life, people suffer. Putting food on the table, paying for their medications, just making it to the next day, making it to the next week. And I don't know if it's when you get a government job that you have to leave your compassion and empathy at the door. But over the last 23 years, it seems that we truly lack the empathy and the compassion that's needed for these men and women, uniform and non-uniform. And that's where we come in. And that's what we do best. And that's because we take it personal. Almost everybody I surround myself with, I've helped personally. I can't think of one person I didn't help. But every person that I surround myself and work with share the same principles and values and morals. Give of yourself. That is the true spirit of the human being. Give of yourself to your neighbor, to your fellow human being. The reward is amazing.
I can't thank you enough, John, because I've seen you in action, the work that you've done. You know, I know we work in the labor space, so you've been to a lot of labor union organizations,
Sure.
from building trades to public sector organizations, advocating on behalf of 9/11 victims and their families.
Yeah, and when people think of 9/11, they think of firefighters and police officers, rightfully so. The moment they put on their uniform and their badges, they are heroes, just for their everyday work. But the non-uniform worker, the construction worker, the tradesman, the carpenter, the electrician, the plumber, the bricklayer, the iron worker, we outnumbered those uniform personnel 4-1. They would still be cleaning up Ground Zero today if that army of American non-uniform worker laborers came in there and did what we did.
Absolutely.
That's just fact. That's fact. And sadly, cops and firefighters, they have great insurance when they're done working or they get injured. A lot of these men and women, when they lost their jobs, they lost their insurance. And that's where these pieces of legislation come in and pick up the slack. Free health care, early screening protection, and get compensated for your illness. The World Trade Center Health Program is an insurance company, and it's a hospital. And it keeps men and women alive. Nobody ever talks about this. If you have lung cancer, in the general population, that sucks. I'm so sorry for you. If I have lung cancer in the 9/11, and I'm a 9/11 responder, mine's on steroids. It's supposed to kill me quick. And years ago it did. But now we've established and set it up where we have a higher survival rate than the general population. I'm supposed to beat my cancer now. You're supposed to lose your fight to cancer. Because of early screening protection, because our doctors and scientists have 23 years of environmental expertise in environmental diseases. They know what they're looking for. And that's a blessing. There are positives in this, but we carry the burden of losing so many people. We've lost over 6,400 people combined from a 9/11 related illness. Everybody says, "Oh, John, thank you for getting that bill passed," or "Thank you for getting me in the World Trade Center Health Program," or "Thank you for helping me get my VCF claim." And I always say that the park on Long Island in Wisconsin is my baby. I've said it 100 times on TV. It is my baby, but that park is a reminder that I'm a failure. Because I failed. And if I failed, that means a lot of other people failed after me. Because that means we didn't get legislation passed fast enough. That means we didn't get them into the program fast enough. That means we didn't get them compensated fast enough where the family goes destitute. But that park is my way of saying, sorry, I failed. And we put their names etched in stone on that park wall to say sorry to their families. I'm sorry because I fucked up and I'm sad and I'm embarrassed that I failed you. Accept this as my apology. So when I go to that park, yeah, it's my baby, but it's a reminder that I'm a failure. And I could do another 100 great things, but I'll think of myself as a failure because too many people died. And people are always going to tell me, well, it's not your fault, it's the government's fault. It's our fault.
Well, I'll tell you, John, I don't think you're a failure. I think what you're doing is notable, and you've helped a lot of people. Just in the beginning of your conversation, if you could help one life and make a difference, you're doing something very special. And, my background is Rotary, all they do is charitable organizations, and some of the mottos, service above self. You're serving others. You found a calling. You're trying to help people. And, you couldn't ask for, we talk about good people and surrounding yourself with really important people to help make a difference.
Yeah.
You're making a difference. And I just want you to know that because, and the world to know that you are making a difference, the people you surround, the organizations that you're affiliated with. So I want to thank you for that. And with that, how do people get in touch with you, the organizations, to find that support for that next level, or just, all the programs that are available and accessible? How do we get in touch?
Yeah, well, I mean, they can go to fealgoodfoundation.com, FEAL. But more importantly, we'll guide them to the World Trade Center Health Program. We'll guide them to a Victims Compensation Fund attorney, Michael Barasch from Barasch McGarry. They're doing amazing work. I work closely with them. They have 40,000 clients. They're a machine. He has almost 250 people working for him. That law firm is 3 blocks from Ground Zero. That law firm took a beating on 9/11. So many people that worked in that firm have passed away. But Michael himself, who's a 2-time cancer survivor, he has 9/11 responders like myself working in that firm. He has the kids of those who died from a 9/11 related illness working in that firm. The atmosphere that's created there is no longer a coworker, it's a family. And to me, that's more important than a paycheck. To have that family atmosphere, that brotherly love, that sisterly love, and the common, we all share the common pain of 9/11 because it's not good. You can't say 9/11 and then feel good. And when you can share that with those who understand it, it's special. You know, myself and a handful of other guys that I brought to DC, because I usually brought 20, 30, 40, 50 people. But there's a core group of us, and we're tight. And we never say goodbye anymore. We say, I love you. Because we're all looking over our shoulder, when's the next one to get 9/11 cancer? So, yeah, you know, we take this serious. We all know that we're going to get 9/11 cancer. I implore anybody who's watching this who was down there in Lower Manhattan, below Canal Street to the water, to the Brooklyn Bridge, get in the program, even if you're not sick. Sign up. You'll go for a yearly physical. You'll get your early screening protection. Because eventually when you do get sick, it's easier to facilitate you through the programs. Get your affidavits now. We'll warehouse them for you. We'll shelve them for you. And we'll hold your hand to guide you through the process. Because I don't want to see you on the wall, and I don't want to be reminded that I'm a failure.
That's John. Again, you're not a failure. You're doing God's work, incredible work, making a difference, and I just want to thank you for everything that you do. We're going to make sure that we get your message out there. We have all the, the links and hyperlinks to get more information for the people that need access and to educate them on the services you guys are providing. So
I appreciate that.
I just, again, can't thank you enough for everything that you do, and God bless you, and God bless America, man.
Thank you.
You got it, John.
Much appreciate it.
Bye. I'd like to thank all our sponsors for helping to build and promote the ULA Network. It is because of you that we're able to support, educate, and promote informative content relevant to labor. Please subscribe, like, and share our channel and media. I'd like to thank you all for your support.